here. I don't even
All right,
sell.
welcome to Tales from the Flipside, bringing you another episode of Deal or Flipside. So before we start and introduce everyone, let me just show this video real quick. All right, so who do we have on our panel today? Let's start off with returning Samson. Haven't seen you in a while.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Samson, comic book journey, long live the journey. Great to be back. Samson, comic book journey.
All right, who do we have next? Sitting right next to them.
That's me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm Tony. I'm one half of Skeleton Key Comics. That's it.
Cool.
This is Joe, Red Hood Comics, your friendly neighborhood comic presser. Glad to be here.
Hey guys, I'm Theo, otherwise known as Rage Theo. I like mutants and I like to party. Hey.
What's up? It's Phil with Vintage Comics and Toys. Happy to be here.
Cool. And before we start, I just want to explain to the audience, we're going to change up the format a little bit this week. So when I throw up the books, we're going to hold up the signs to which books we would buy. And then I'm going to pick someone on the panel to speak about the book. So, yep. So let's go ahead and bring up the slides and see what our first comparisons are today. So thank you again, Frank Gogol, for making this slide for me. And yep. All right. And so our first comparison for the day is Ultimate Fallout number 4 CBCS 9.6 that sold for $999. And then we have a Star Wars number 1 CGC 9.6 that sold for $1,040. So all right, panel, which book are you buying?
Oh man. Why do I always pick this one?
All right. I'm gonna go with Phil on this one. So, right. Let's see. Let's go with Skeleton Key. Why did you pick Ultimate Fallout 4?
So it's because it's a CBCS book, right? So I was gonna pick Star Wars because there's a lot less of them at 9.6 than there is obviously at the Ultimate Fallout 4 at 9.6. But I believe, in my experience, I've seen CBCS grade down on things that they shouldn't grade down on for 9.8s. So about half the time, a 9.6 CBCS can be graded at a 9.8 for CGC because of like factory issues that CGC doesn't count against the book. So you might be able to just split that, send it to CGC, and get yourself a 9.8.
Nice. All right. And Phil, tell us why you chose Star Wars number 1 9.6 from CBC.
All right. Really great point from Skeleton Key Comics. Yeah, that could very well be a 9.8 right there in a $3,000 book. So that's I didn't think about that point. But for Star Wars 1, I feel like there's so many catalysts. Like you got the Book of Boba in December, then you got Mandalorian after that, then you got the Rogue One follow-up, and Obi-Wan. So man, dude, I think there's just so many things so many triggers for this book to keep going up. So I like the price at a 9.6 at $1,000. I think it could really go nuts. This is a very, very desirable book, even though the print run is pretty ginormous. But yeah, Star Wars 1 for me, 9.6.
All right. So to the rest of the panel, after hearing both of those statements, does anyone want to flip their choices?
I'm gonna flip it. Because I always pick Ultimate Fallout, and I like the 3,000, but I'm gonna take a gamble.
I'm gonna stay put. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a gamble with Star Wars.
Yeah, I agree on the point Skeleton said about the CBCS CGC factor. I also agree on the Mandalorian and Boba Fett series and possible another Star Wars movie. I do think, though, that long-term Miles will probably cause a nuclear explosion if that ever happens. So I think the potential on Miles is, astronomical. Where Star Wars, we kind of already see the limit.
Oh yeah, that's a great point, Theo. I mean, like we've seen what Miles does, like with just like a video game, right?
Mhm.
Like, I mean, it was kind of like parallel with the price increases with both the video game and the increase of Ultimate Fallout 4, versus like Star Wars comes out with a game every so often, and then every time I see a Star Wars game come out, I just hear people talking smack about EA. I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, I've never seen an increase in the book. I mean, but that could just be me. So, yeah, and then we haven't even seen Into the Spider-Verse come out. So,
No, I think Phil's got a great point. Like, there's so many Star Wars shows coming, possibly movies that it hasn't seen its peak yet. I mean, that's the first of everybody. That's the first Darth Vader, the first Obi-Wan. I mean, I mean,
to play devil's advocate,
yeah,
the label doesn't even say that yet. When the label does say that,
yeah,
first appearance, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, that's a wrap. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, I think that's a big part of it too, but they need to change that.
yeah, and you got to think custom labels too. So they got custom labels for Miles and things like that. You would think sooner or later they may have some custom labels for Star Wars, and then look out, custom Darth Vader label, a custom.
It's game over.
Yeah. So I mean, who knows? But both these books at those prices, I mean, they're low. I mean, they're low,
extremely low.
Yeah, I think the Ultimate Fallout 4 that's like basically fair market value for a 9.6. In the Star Wars, that's a few $100s under fair market value. So if you're trying to hold on long term, I would stay UF4. If you're trying to just turn it, I think that Star Wars is a good buy right now.
all right, great points, everyone. Let's go ahead and move on to our next set of books. All right. So we have Vengeance #1 CGC 9.8 that sold for $1,274 versus Action Comics #252 CGC 3.5 that sold for $1,250. Or did I say the wrong prices? Okay, but anyways, all right. And Tony, which book are you picking?
I am going with Miss America Chavez. I try to play this game as I collect books, and I collect books as a seller, and that is a book that I don't think it's peaked yet. Obviously, I think we know she's in the show. We've seen the actress. Seems to be a pretty pivotal and pretty large role in likely more than one of the movies coming up. So I'm going to go Vengeance #1 all day.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen a unanimous decision with everyone picking a single book. So if anyone has anything else to add on, or if anyone wants to play devil's advocate of why they were considering,
I will give. I just want to give one reason why I have a hunch why it is unanimous, and probably not the reason why any of us picked the book, but subconsciously probably, and that's because the top book's a Marvel book.
Okay. That was my first thought. My first thought was it was a Marvel book.
And that's why I say
Marvel.
And because we know what's going on with Marvel and Disney Plus, that's a winner chicken dinner all day right there.
See, I thought you were going to take a different approach with that. I was thinking you were going to say because it's a 9.8.
No.
Yeah, so that's where I thought you were leaning towards. But I mean, that's just me thinking out loud. But I mean, I think we can all agree on the panel that, like, I think there's a cap on the low grade book, right? Versus a 9.8, it's almost like the sky's the limit for it, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, if your timing is good, I should.
Well,
Well,
I should,
that
Can I
that 9.8
add,
sold for $2,000 a couple of times already.
can I add something, Aaron?
yeah, go
Um,
for it.
Yeah, so the reason why I picked this book, I actually looked at a 9.6 about 3 days ago, and I was trying to see. I was like, "Gosh, can I bump this up to a 9.8 if I get Joe to clean it?" And I just knew I couldn't. These books are really really tough to find in 9.8 condition.
Yeah.
And another thing to follow up with it with Vengeance, America Chavez, is that I see her as becoming an A-list character. Right now, she's kind of in the middle. She's probably a C or B list character, but as the market starts realizing and Disney starts diversifying, their whole roster, you're gonna see a lot more Latino or Latina characters evolve, over time. And I think it's going to be really healthy for the market and for new people coming into the hobby. So
Agreed.
I'm all in for it, and especially with the whole Pride thing that came out recently. I wasn't there. I haven't bought a comic book in a while, but I just see it happening in the future, and that's the reason why I think she has a strong story, and we're gonna get to know more about her.
Yeah, Samson, I think that's really smart. Yeah. One thing, there's a lot of these next gen heroes that we're specking on, or that the books are going up, Riri and Miles and everybody. If you think about it though, America Chavez is pretty much the only original character. Everyone else is a knockoff or a younger version or whatever, an established character. America is her own thing. I agree with you completely. I have really high hopes for her as being kind of, maybe not the number one star of Marvel. That's a huge statement, but to be kind of like the younger generation's version of a Captain America, a different kind of patriotism. You know what I mean? A different kind of pride in country with her name and her, her red, white, and blue.
Yeah,
So
absolutely, Tony.
Did you see that that comment? What do you think a CGC 9.8 newsstand in Vengeance 1 goes for?
Oh yeah, I see. Oh, how much does that go? How much is it going for?
I don't know,
one
man.
person that has it.
But my buddy just chimed in. He's got one, and I don't think there's many out there, man.
Yeah, there's only a handful of those.
Yeah, dude.
But
I think that's a good question. Like, does anyone on the panel want to take a guess of how much it would potentially sell for? Because I mean, I know Tony was saying that it would almost hit up to like 2K.
2,000.
Yeah.
2,000.
Yeah, I would say newsstand 9.8, probably 2,500.
No way. I wouldn't let that book go for less than $5,000.
$5,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could buy
Newsstand
one for
9.8.
for 4,000.
Newsstand 9.8.
Shows how much I value the newsstand.
yeah,
Well, it's about rarity.
feel it,
That's
though.
a thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many are out there, right? It's rarity versus scarcity.
Yeah.
And then also there needs to be a demand for it too. And I think, that's something that's, I don't want to say it's relatively new that people started collecting, because I've always felt like it's been a niche kind of thing, but I think it's expanding outside of that now, because like we're seeing prices increase for newsstands, and just like there's a general demand, and I want to say I guess a market consensus that that people are paying more for it, even, or willing to pay for it. So,
to put on my Steve Horn hat and just to play the other side, there's nothing wrong with that Action Comics book. Supergirl is, one of the premium characters in DC. DC collectors who go after gold, Silver Age books, they're not switching to Moon Girl. There's 25 bids on this. They're going to be out there. They're going to be buying books. It's just probably not going to see the same kind of appreciation in value over the same period of time. That's why I would lean toward the Vengeance.
Yeah, well, and especially in what is the DC series that's out now? Isn't Supergirl a brunette now? Is that correct? Does anyone know?
Yeah,
don't
she's
care.
being played by Sasha Cale or Kale, however you pronounce it. And yeah, just some set photos just got released of her, I think, being in the Flash movie, and I overall wasn't really impressed by the look. And she's got short hair too, so I'm just like, maybe a little bit of yeah, man, it's not doing it for me, you know.
Hey,
So
I don't
Hey
know
man,
what
I
it
love
is.
short
Hey,
hair.
hey, I don't know what it is, but nobody knew how to draw in the 50s and 60s, bro.
What are you saying, Joe?
I'm just playing, man. I'm just playing. I know I'm gonna get some backlash for that, man. I'm just kidding, dude. That's
All
art.
right.
That's art.
No, but you know, Joe, you have a point. Like back then, there were about two kind of females you drew. That's it. You drew a buxom girl with black hair or a buxom girl with blonde hair. That's it. That's all you drew. That's what all the characters look like with different costumes on. So if they want to, update things a little bit, I don't care. I don't care. Change whatever you need to change. Comics change all the time. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
There was probably a guy that drew like Delato at that time, and they're all like, "That's crap. Get that out of here." You know?
Well, yeah, I mean, and tastes change over time. So like,
I know. I mean, look at what the Campbell did.
yeah, I mean, or just like in general, like whatever's popular right now may not be popular like 15, 20 years from now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to our next set of books. So we have a raw copy of Invincible #1 that sold for $600 versus Amazing Spider-Man #50 3.5 that sold for $601. So go ahead and hold up your signs if you want the Amazing Spider-Man or the Invincible one. So
This one took a minute to think about.
all right.
What is that Off-White pages? Is it Off-White on this ASM?
I want to say it does say it Off-White.
Okay.
Because it looks like more text than it would say if it would be if it was just white. So all right, let's go with Red Hood for what you picked the ASM. Is that right?
Yeah, I picked the ASM for $600.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then who picked the Invincible? Just hold your sign up again. I just don't remember.
Everybody else but me.
Okay. And then Samson, I'll let you talk about Invincible.
Okay. So this is a cool one. Usually I would be a fan of the ASM, but then as I see Invincible just getting more popular, just through word of mouth and recently reading about it, I think this has a lot of momentum going forward, especially knowing that there's 2 other seasons coming about, and it's just a cool series, man. Everybody dies and it's bloody and a lot of crazy stuff happens in this. I don't want to spoil it, but hopefully. I had one of my friends, we were talking about it on the subway, and he doesn't even read comic books. He was like, "Hey, have you watched Invincible?" And I'm like, no, not yet. And he's like, "Dude, you gotta watch it. It's so fucking sick." I'm sorry, but that's what he said. It's so good, and it's just I just been hearing a lot of positive feedback on the series alone, and reading it is really it's a really good read. And that's all I gotta say about that.
All right, and then Joe, go ahead about the ASM #50.
You tell him, Joe.
Well, I look at that 3.5, and you know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to crack it open, and I'm going to try and see if there's any meat on the bone, and then I'm going to send it in. I just think that the first appearance of Kingpin, yeah, and it's just an iconic cover. And if I didn't, I mean, it's already slabbed. I mean, this book keeps going up. I just think it's a good value. Now, Invincible, I honestly, if I'm going to buy her, I would want to see more pictures. I mean, it's kind of challenging just assuming that all I see is pre-owned. I don't see like I don't
There's no
see
grade.
I don't see Invincible #1 high grade copy. I don't see that. So that kind of makes it challenging. So if I have to pick one or the other, I'm going to go with a 3.5 that's already graded, and I can crack it, or I can just keep it, or I can hang on to it, because I know I paid $600 for a 6.5 last year. So that's how much that, I mean, this book is gone up. So I for a while there, if it was a 3.5, I think last year it was $350. And if it was a 6.0, it was $600, and that's kind of how Amazing 50's kind of been. But it's been climbing. It's been climbing fast. So I mean, that's just my take on it.
All right. Anyone care to Flipside on this?
Yeah, no, I'm still with the Kingpin.
Okay.
So I did find this book though on eBay, and there are a lot of spine ticks.
Oh, on the 3.5.
On the Invincible one.
Oh,
I knew it. I knew it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean that book's like what the print run's pretty low. I don't remember exact numbers or even estimate numbers, but every time I've heard it, like I was just like, wow, there's only that many of this Invincible, and yeah, it's just kind of crazy. And then especially since like the show is still getting like 2 more seasons on Amazon, which
it's incredible. I love that show.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed too that like a animated show is boosting up the price of a book so much, that people are paying a lot of attention to it. I'm pretty sure I saw in the Hot 10 before where they were talking about, what was it, the omnibus for these books of the collection of Invincible. They're going for like crazy amounts of money.
Wow.
I was just TDY this past week, and my roommate, he's a senior master sergeant. He went and bought the omnibus for, I think it was like $85 at Barnes and Nobles.
That's a steal.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I'm specking on tie-ins, man. This book is gonna be cool if they do any tie-ins in the future. Oh man, these books are gonna skyrocket.
Yeah, let me give you my really quick indie theory though. I love Invincible. I love Robert Kirkman. I love the show. I hope they do. I hope it becomes a template for a live action movie. I hope it does awesome. But if I'm in a situation like this where I got to choose between the bottom book and an indie book, I don't care what it is. Something is Killing the Children, Walking Dead, Invincible, Spawn, whatever. I ask myself, 12 years from now, are they going to know who Invincible is? Or like, if you left this book in a long box in a closet and took it out 12 years from now, is it going to be worth what it's worth today?
I have something to challenge you, Tony.
Yeah.
All right. So check this out. So I was talking to shout out to Immortal Idiots, and we were talking about the popularity of musicians. A good example would be Taylor Swift versus Beyonce, deal or flip side. And you'll be surprised that one of my friends, he was on a Zoom call, and everybody was like, "Who do you want to listen to?" And the millennials and Generation Z, they chose Taylor Swift over Beyonce. So, to put this in perspective, who will be more relevant in the future, Invincible or Spider-Man or Peter Parker? So I challenge everybody to think about that kind of stuff. We were talking about what's that guy? It's the 69, that guy with the rapper. Yeah, Shikashi. Me and the Moral Idiots were talking about Shikashi versus DMX, and and there are more views on Shikashi than DMX, and DMX just passed away. Rest in peace. But
I got a double-edged sword for you though.
Okay, that's a good one. I'm ready for it. But yeah, I'm just throwing it out there because it made me think like, you know, who like this new generation is a lot. They think a lot differently than most of us do. I'm sorry. Go Theo. I'm ready.
So I chose the Kingpin, kind of similar reasons, but a little different. That's because we've already actually seen the Kingpin twice, and that's in a TV show and in Into the Spider-Verse. And the Kingpin, as far as my kids are concerned, are kind of attached to Miles now. As much, even though I consider the Kingpin attached to Peter Parker, and it could be a debate now who the Kingpin really is attached to. So I think we've seen him in animated, we've seen him in the show. I think it's a matter of
don't forget about Daredevil.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Daredevil.
So I think we're going to see him in a movie. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. And Samson, I don't mean any disrespect for the quality of the work or anything like that, but mine it's almost more of a business side of it.
Yeah.
Which company is going to be more powerful 12 years from now? Is it Marvel and Disney, or is it
Image and Kirkman?
You know?
Yeah, you know,
Like
you make a valid
how
point,
long
Tony.
can they stay relevant? That's my question.
I mean,
we got Kirkman and McFarlane, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 12 years ago, we had Hellboy, right, in 2008. And that was supposed to be like a niche type of fad, right? And then they wanted to reboot it. So does Invincible have that impact? I mean, I haven't watched the show. You guys tell me. But I'm just saying 12 years ago, hey, maybe they're going to reboot Invincible or do another spinoff or something, you know?
Yeah.
Live action, that.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Amazon money is, coming up close. And then I just want to say, as a millennial from Houston, it's a crime to not choose Beyonce. So, all right.
You know, I chose Taylor Swift because I was asking a friend, what should I invest in, a Taylor Swift card or a Beyonce card? And then when millennials said Taylor Swift, I bought a Taylor Swift card.
That's cool. All right, so let's go on to our next set of books. So once again, we have a redacted section. So I've redacted the entire, price, bids, shipping costs, everything. So you'll just see the books, but we'll still, hold up your signs. So which one you're going to purchase?
Do we need to blindfold ourselves or something?
What is this?
Yeah, so Kyle Rierson.art on Instagram sent me this idea to do a classified edition of Dealer Flipside. So every once in a while, I'll pop this in just to hide the price. So you'll just see the title, picture of the book, and we'll discuss it, and then I'll reveal the prices after the discussion.
All right.
So let's see what I redacted. All right. So I have a 1944 Detective Comics number 93 at a 5.0 CGC versus a Ultimate Fallout 4 CGC 9.8 second print.
Oh, go.
All right, let's see. How about
Even up?
Yeah, so let's go with Theo for Ultimate Fallout 4 second print, and then Tony Blue Green Artifacts for Detective Comics 93.
Yeah, so I went with the Ultimate Fallout 4 only because I don't have too much knowledge in the Golden Age, and it's kind of an unknown territory for me, so I'm going to go with what I'm comfortable with and a character that I have confidence in. That, and I don't think that Detective Comics is a key book to my knowledge, so yeah.
Okay. All right, Blue Green.
Fair enough. Yeah, you picked the wrong guy to talk about a DC Golden Age book. No. It's all good. I could repeat exactly what you just said about in your statement, but I think I would use that as a reason to get the Detective Comics. I think not to be the slab snobby, but I think that presents very well. I don't have a lot of Golden Age books. I probably have, I don't know. The lower book isn't as interesting to me, I guess. And I do look for those books where you can, I do want to sell, but I also would love to just kind of forget about a book and then dig it out 20 years from now and have it be worth an ungodly amount of money. And I think I'd be better off with the Detective Comics in that situation.
All right. Anyone care to elaborate on the Detective Comics 3?
No, that's just such a beautiful cover, and man, a 5.0 Golden Age, man. I mean, it'd be nice to have just to. I mean, I don't want to collect a whole ton of Golden Age books, but if you throw it up there and ask me to pick, I might just buy it just to have it as like a art piece. But it's not a key, and the Ultimate Fallout, it's a second print. So if I had to choose, I kind of want to go with something nostalgic, Yeah. So that's just me.
Plus it's like World War II, that same time frame. That's a hard book to get.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
And I just want to add on to the Ultimate Fallout 4 second print. So as we know that there are 2 second prints. We had the Bagley, and I forget who did the other one, where it's like part of the panel with the white background.
Pacelli.
Pacelli, there we go. But the Bagley one, isn't that the one that's lower printed than the Pacelli one?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, we've seen the increased price in the Lamole foil variant. So I mean, I think this one's gonna fall like right behind that too. Like it's gonna keep on increasing in price, where I think it's gonna shock us to see what that second print goes for, especially because now we see his exposed face that the trade dress isn't blocking that. So I think that's
Well, that and touche. How long has Batman been around and the prices are where they're at? Miles hasn't even shown his face in a real live action movie yet.
Yeah.
All right. So, and Joe Stooling added this comment. So it's an early Batman issue. Thank you. All right. So here are the prices. The Detective Comics 93 sold for $741.33, and the Ultimate Fallout 4 sold for $735.59. Do the prices shock anyone on this panel? For it?
No.
No. Okay. All right. So let's see what our next set of books are. We have Green Lantern number 59. That sold for $419, and Ghost Rider number 1. That sold for $402.
By the way, my printer died, which is why mine's all pink.
So you had the variant edition, huh?
Yeah. It's an error. This is priceless. 1 of 1.
Let me guess, you're missing magenta, right? You're missing magenta. Everybody's printer always misses magenta, man.
So but who has the first edition copy would be our good friend Josh Allen. So I sent him a set of the concept pieces to make the signs and stuff like that. So he has the first edition. I'll say that.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyone in the chat can hit me up for the OA. I'm just joking. But yeah. So it looks like we have a unanimous decision again. Does anyone want to play devil advocate on why they might have considered the Green Lantern 59, and then I'll choose someone randomly to pick the Ghost Rider.
I'll play devil's advocate for the Green Lantern.
Okay.
I mean, I know Justice League hints at it a lot. I know we're overdue for somebody to give the Green Lantern some justice. I could see Green Lantern TV show spiking that Green Lantern book a lot quicker than anything Ghost Rider related. I think actually Green Lantern's more along coming down the horizon than Ghost Rider is, in my opinion. So,
Okay. Tony, Skeleton Keys. Why'd you choose Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider is one of my favorite characters, so I would have grabbed it anyways. But I would have to disagree with my good friend Rage. I think Ghost Rider is around the corner in the MCU for sure, and I don't know. I definitely love Ghost Rider way more than I care about Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner did get my respect in the Death of Superman storyline, like 100%. Like he had his eyes all busted out, and someone else is like grabbing his arm and pointing it, but still. You can't beat Ghost Rider.
nope.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah. Well, do we still? Is there confirmation of even which Ghost Rider we're gonna get, or is that still like kind of up in the air?
I think it's
There's
still up in the air.
no confirmation
spec.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Man, I hope it's Robbie Reyes. I got a ton of first
But I
appearances,
think,
man. I got like a stack of them, man. Jesus Christ, man. I hope it's Robbie Reyes.
Oh man,
That's gonna be a hard one after Ages of Shield, unless they bring
Yeah.
that guy back in.
Damn it.
Green Lantern's confirmed, isn't he?
Yeah, it is. I
Yep.
believe so, but they can
There you
easily
go.
cancel it.
They're going to wait till they make it and then.
That's fine. I'll just wait for the.
Man,
Yeah.
I found a few Green Lantern books in my long box this past week, which is pretty cool.
I don't even know what books to spec on, man, for Green Lantern.
The
Yeah.
new one. I can't even pronounce her name. Far Sector. I can never pronounce her name.
I
But
guess.
that new series is hot, man. I love that series. Far Sector.
Yeah, we need Steve on the panel to educate us.
Yeah,
about
we
some
need you,
DC.
Steve.
He's going to
Yeah.
be screaming at his screen when he rewatches this. I just got to pipe in because I feel bad for like Steve. I want DC to succeed so badly. I have nothing against DC. Yes, I grew up collecting probably more Marvel. I want DC books and DC movies and DC properties to succeed. I just don't see it happening in the short term realistically. You know what
Because
I mean?
they don't want to have a plan, you know? They just want to throw
Right.
anything out there.
You do need lightning in a bottle, and Marvel got that in the beginning. I mean, there were superhero movies before Marvel movies. There were Marvel movies before the MCU that didn't do amazing.
It all started with Blade.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So I
Wesley
hope
Snipes.
that happens for DC at some point, because I mean, we all know there's decades of stories in Marvel, and we're going to see Marvel movies till we're in a senior center. But you could say the exact same thing
I
about
hope so,
DC.
please.
There are there's a good part of a century worth of stories in DC Comics that we're waiting to get. You know what I mean?
Like Jokerfish.
Yeah, exactly. Like Jokerfish.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't wait for Shazam Part 2.
Ooh, Shazam was good.
I enjoyed that film actually.
I want to see Lobo. I want to see Booster Gold. I want to see Batman and the Outsiders. You know.
I want to see
Yeah.
X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Boom!
well,
That was
I'm
pretty
also-
awesome. I want to see the X-Men. Game over.
I'm pretty excited to see what Discovery is going to do with the DC property. You know, I mean, they've already came out and said we're going to spend more money than Netflix does in production. So, you know, I think it gives it like somewhat of a fighting chance just to, to keep afloat and then like maybe even increase their audience. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
I think as long as the money people can keep their hands off of the creative people, it has a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you all think if Titans and Doom Patrol shows were on HBO Max, do you think the spec would be different for the market?
Like if it was on like Hulu or Netflix or something like that?
No, so this Green Lantern show is going to be on HBO Max, right? So prior to that, we had that that DC channel, right? So if Doom Patrol and Titans were actually instead on HBO, do you think they would have marketed better, or
Titans and Doom Patrol are both on HBO Max.
Oh, are they? Oh, okay. That happened recently. Okay. I thought it was.
So they should be on Disney
on
Plus.
All right, so let's see what we have next.
Bring it on, Aaron.
All right, so we have Prince Namor is the Submariner #1. VG Must Look U Grade that sold for $409 versus a King in Black #1 1 in 500 Donny Cates variant. So if I'm not mistaken, I think this is one of Donny Cates' early drawn books.
Yeah, what a talented artist that is.
Because that's what he's known for, is his art.
Yeah,
Does it
he
look like
draws
something
as good as
for
his
children?
comic endings,
I love that it says "must look."
Yeah, you got to look at it. You got to look at it. I'm surprised it doesn't have the big eyeball emoji. You got to look at it.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Samson, why'd you pick the book you did? And then
I just think that that Namor has just legs all over the place, for the future of the MCU. You could play them both ways. I don't know. I mean, and then for that price, I think it's just a no-brainer to me. Apart from the King in Black, I mean, Donny Cates is gonna probably heat up the market again, but going long term, moving forward, Submariner issue 1. It's an older book. There's nothing more to say about it.
Okay. And then Phil, why'd you pick the King in Black 1 in 500?
Yeah, so the Submariner 1. I mean, I love that cover. Everyone who's a collector loves that art on that cover, right? But I mean, that's trailing like Silver Surfer 1 VG, Iron Man 1 VG. I'm just like, yeah, King in Black 1 with the Donny Cates drawn variant. That was like a $500 book when it first came out. So I'll just buy the dip. Hopefully that we get a Easter egg of Null in the next Venom movie, and I'll just play the market. Null's not going away, even though he's dead. I just take the bottom.
Yeah, we'll see how long that death lasts in Marvel. And then, that's a very good point, for a raw book that sold for $500, and now you have a graded 9.8 for $410. Yeah, I mean, but, Namor is finally making a splash, pun intended. So, it's pretty exciting to see that too. So, yeah.
I think Namor right now is in I'm going to call it the Shang-Chi phase, because we know he's coming. We know he's going to be in a movie. We don't know who the actor is exactly, and the books have not moved crazy amount yet, but they will. They will.
Yeah.
So that I think this is a great time. We've been talking about it like on shows like this, but those prices on the Namor books have not skyrocketed as much as they will. You look at like a 9.2 first appearance of Shang-Chi. When they first released the news that he's going to be in a movie, you could buy that for $400, $500, $600, and now that's a $3,000 book. So it will move.
Do you kind of feel like Eternals is like within that same realm? That like even though the preview's out and I feel like there's been mixed reactions with the crowd or comic community about the preview. That's for anyone on the panel.
I don't know. I choose Angelina Jolie. If she's in the movie, if she's in the movie, it's a winner.
Mama.
Mama.
Fair enough. All right. So for our next set of books, we have Fantastic Four King Size Special number 6. That's sold for $420 versus a Fight Comics number 44. That's sold for $405.
Oh, come on, Phil. I feel like guilty or not guilty, and Phil is just putting up like, nah, I kind of think he's not guilty.
All right. All right, Red Hood. Why'd you pick Fantastic Four? And then I'll ask Phil why he picked Fight Comics number 44. Joe, go ahead and speak on.
No, I mean, the Fantastic Four King Size Special. I mean, it looks just the looks of it. It looks high grade. I think there's a lot of upside, especially with the Fantastic Four on the horizon. I know there's a lot of collectors out there for bondage covers and stuff like that, and I'm there. It's a niche kind of thing, but I mean, the first Annihilus appearance, I mean, that's still that book is still on the low. I mean, would you guys agree? I mean, slabbed in a 9.6, 9.8. I mean, that's going to be that book is going to continue to climb.
All right.
I totally agree. I think Annihilus is for sure Fantastic Four bad guy for the MCU, like the big bad.
Isn't that
even if he's
Franklin
not? I
Richards
think
as
Franklin
well?
Richards is a guaranteed.
Franklin Richards 100% as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, and of course, I think Nico picked some of these books or a lot of these books. So, Phil, why'd you choose Fight Comics number 44? I think I kind of have an idea, but I'll let the vintage dealer educate us some more on this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't dabble too much in Golden Age. I mean, I try to buy as many as I can. This is super well sought out GA bondage cover. I mean, good plus. I mean, I would imagine that the staples are still attached to the book. It looks like it presents pretty well. I mean, there's another surge for Golden Age books right now, and I want to get on the wave, and I want to get this book before it's completely gone and sailed away. So I'd get that versus the Raw FF King Size Special 6. Because yeah, that presents well, but I mean, I've just seen so many beaters and so many of those in long boxes, just all beaten up. But I mean, yeah, with Joe, like 9.6, 9.8, like forget, like wow, like those are ginormous asking prices. I mean, if I knew for sure that's a 7.0, like I'd grab the FF's King Size Special 6, but. I mean, I know it's a good plus here with my Fight Comics 44, so I'm gonna go with that one.
I think Nico would slap all of us who chose a Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and since he I set up the slides and everything, I did a bit of a research on the Fight Comics number 44. So from what I've read, and if you search Fight Comics 44, you can actually read it. There's PDFs of it on some website. I don't remember exactly which one. And with this one is a return of a character. I forget his name. I think it actually is a Captain Fight. I don't remember. But that's what makes this a important Golden Age book. It's a return of a character from the storyline. And I think that's why it's highly sought after. So That's all I remember from my research about a week ago, I think, or so. So I tried reading a Golden Age book, or this one specifically, and then like I don't know, something about the verbiage, like kind of
Look here, copper. See. Look here, copper.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I mean, but that might just be like times have changed of language and all that, blah blah blah. But all right, let's see what I have next. All right, so I just want to remind everyone to use the code Flipside to get a 2-week free subscription to the Key Collector app. And if you haven't checked out our Spec 10 episode that dropped this past Tuesday, go ahead and give it a browse. So you never know when you're back issue diving that you might find some of those books that are going for some pretty high prices on eBay, but you could probably find them for pretty cheap if your store doesn't regularly go through their back issues and clean up. So never know. All right. So for our next set of books, we have Stray Dogs #1 that sold at for CGC 9.8 that sold for $410 versus a Marvel Spotlight #28 that sold for $415.
Oh, hold on.
All right. So let's go with Theo for the Moon Knight, and who else chose Stray Dogs? I don't remember. Sorry.
So I went with the Moon Knight. Besides the fact that it says super high grade, it is the first solo Moon Knight, and we do have somebody casted for that. I have heard a lot about the Stray Dogs. I'm not much of an indie person myself, so I tend to stay with Marvel or DC. So that's why I'm going with the Moon Knight.
All right, Joe, go for it.
Man, Stray Dogs, I remember when it was first solicited and I saw this picture, and I didn't so much think of Disney. I kind of always liked the Don Bluth art from the 80s, and it kind of resonated with me. And I just, something about that book, I kind of felt like it was going to be something. There was reports of possibly it was optioned, but come to find out it was optioned even before the book came out. And so I picked up a bunch of copies of #1, even the acetate cover, and that's cover A at a 9.8, and that's what they're selling for. That book, I don't know exactly what the print run on it was or is, but man, I think that's going to be, in my opinion, cheap when possible movie comes out. And they're also announced kind of like a sequel, Free Comic Book Day issue or something like that. Does anybody know?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I was on the panel with Trish yesterday. So it is confirmed with Paramount that they are making a movie. There is going to be a free comic shop day, Stray Dogs. I think that's setting up the next story arc. So there's a lot of exciting things happening with that property. So we'll see like where it goes.
And just all the movie homages to whether it's Friday the 13th or Scream.
They're awesome. All of them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Can I say something, Joe?
Go
Can
for
I
it,
add
man.
something? All right, so shout out to Sparks Comics and Comic Book Women. Actually, I passed up on this book. I think like a week or two after release, and I went back to it. And I think this series is probably the most original series of the year. When I choose a book, I look for originality, but I also choose a book that people can actually fall in love with, and these characters and the way that's drawn and the whole concept itself. It just makes me smile, even though it's a horror book. But I think it has a lot of room to grow. the characters. I think a lot of people are gonna fall in love with the characters. And before I went on vacation, I scooped up a bunch. In the middle of my vacation, this book just went, it went up like crazy, and I didn't even think it was gonna be anything. And within these 2 weeks, I mean, these books are just continuing to climb, and people are just buying them, snagging them. So keep a lookout for this.
CGC announced the signing for Trish and what's his name? Tony.
Tony Fleece. Yeah.
Please, yeah. So I think if I want my books, because I want to get my stray dogs graded pretty quickly, I might as well send them in to get them signed so I can get my books back this year. Yeah.
Before the show, we were chatting. I said, so I end up buying stray dogs to sell stray dogs to buy more stray dogs.
And then Joe's Doolin, I know it was a qualifier, so that is true. The acetate is not a 1 in 25. I don't know what the qualifier amount was, but it was an open to order book. Like if you did meet that qualification, I know a lot of retailers that did qualify for it skipped on it because of the cover price being a slight more. I think it was like $7.99.
Yeah,
or something like that.
But a lot of acetate covers come back $9.9. You know that, right? So
yeah, I've been hit pretty hard on the acetate cover. So I'm
really,
sure. Yeah. But anyways, does anyone want to elaborate on the Moon Knight Marvel Spotlight number 28 pick?
Well, one more. I'll elaborate since I picked it. Who's making the Stray Dogs?
Paramount.
Who's making the Moon Knight?
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think you're exactly right, and this goes back to what I was saying before. Like, I think a lot of these independent books, and I love them, and I think they're great for reading, and they're great for the hobby, and they're great to get excitement out there. But a lot of them are priced on best case scenario, and it's impossible for us to see best case scenario where Stray Dogs becomes a mainstay for decades, and Something's Killing the Children becomes a mainstay for decades, and whatever the next flavor of the week becomes a mainstay for decades. And if you waited till now to get on this, and if you don't get your books back, if you're submitting a bunch of books that are going to take 5 months to get back, where is this book going to be 5 months from now? It's on this big wave right now. It'll dip down when there's a program or when there's a show coming out. It'll come back up again. I think they're good for like day traders, if that makes sense, of comics, like people who want to buy at the right time and sell at the right time. But I like the books where, yeah, they have a really good chance, especially Moon Knight, of going up quite a bit in the next month or 6 months or a year. But it also has a really good chance of going up in the next 10 years. If this Moon Knight show fails, 8 years from now, there'll be another one. You can't say that about Stray Dogs. You know what I mean?
But
Disney.
I would say, man, if they play this right, Stray Dogs, they could sell the hell out of toys. That's for sure. Little cute plush little dogs. You know,
I don't know. I'm probably not gonna let my kids read this.
Maybe a dog with a bullet hole in it.
I think this book will actually be the talk of the town once it hits the theaters or the small screen. People are going to be talking about it at work. Have you watched this little cartoon about these dogs? You'll see when it happens.
That's a fair joke, though. Like Joe was saying, like, who does this get marketed to? Like, our grown men who have nothing to do with comics, are they going to tune in for a horror show that looks like Lady and the Tramp? You know what I mean?
Yes. I would.
But they will chime in for an off-brand Batman like Moon Knight.
Yeah. But their kids may say, "Hey, Dad, take me to go see Stray Dogs." The
kids will be asking for a CGC 9.8 though.
Yeah. Dad, how come you know all about this movie, Dad?
I mean, I think we always need a good juxtaposition every once in a while. Like I feel like it's been a while since we've seen something like, you know, that's like obviously like it looks like it's for kids, but it's not, you know. So that's just my opinion.
Right.
But all right.
I like those too, but they don't become like giant blockbusters. They become like
that's
cult
true.
classics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To your point, it'd be like Old Guard was very similar to this situation where when Old Guard came out on TV, it was huge for a couple of weeks, and then nobody knows what Old Guard is anymore.
Yeah. I thought it was good. I liked Old Guard.
They should have put they should have put a couple of dogs in Old Guard, man.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yo,
Not enough horror homage books.
All right, so it looks like we have a Rick and Morty portal. Let's go through this portal and see what happens.
What's going on here?
Okay, so we have
Another one.
Yeah, so you know, just to change it up a bit in a different dimension, we have a Marvel Spotlight 28 9.0 that sold for $616, and then we have the Stray Dogs #1 variant that sold for $605.
Shit.
Oh gosh, dang it! And now I'm contradicting myself. Let me see.
I'm sending my books out, bro. Deal.
$600? Jeez.
Yeah.
For Stray Dogs?
Yeah, that's a variant, man. Silence of the Lambs. Clarice. Hello, Clarice.
Man, I saw so many of those on the wall. I couldn't believe it. Are you serious?
Yeah.
And I didn't even pick up one.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, like what the what some of those horror variants are going for. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one.
Do you guys see the Blair Witch one?
Oh,
yeah.
man.
I wanted the Poltergeist one. That one was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty
man.
cool, yeah.
I like the Midsummer. That's cool too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and horror, that's like a crazy genre, and those collectors are rabid. Like, I mean, it's so crazy that they have to have their own convention. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, but I mean, would it be insane to see the two merge together in like one like SuperCon or something like that, or like a Tricon or something like that, where you have like a horror con, an anime con, and a comic con all mixed into one? I mean, that budget would be ridiculous, but I mean, like, wouldn't that just be like crazy? That's just me thinking out loud and give it like probably $1 billion idea, but that's all right. Anyways, yeah. So I just wanted to like, you know, have fun with that. So here's our next picks. We have Invincible Iron Man #7 at a 9.8 that sold for $257 with $44 in shipping coming from the UK. That will probably take about a month and a little bit of change. And then you have a TMNT #1 9.4 that sold for $255.
You know what? I'm gonna go non-Marvel on this one.
All right, so let's go with Blue, Green, and Phil.
All right, yeah, I'm going the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for a few reasons. I really like Riri, and I like that book. One issue with Riri is she's got about 8 books that people chase, and everybody argues about which one's the most important. I agree with this. I think in my mind, this is the book that I want. But then, like, the ratio variant to this one isn't as, I don't know. There's a lot of debate going on with Riri and what book you should be getting if you want to invest in her. I think she's got a great future in the MCU. I think, you know, she will be Iron Man basically going forward. But it also came out in the age of speculation, and people just bought the shit out of it and put it in a bag and didn't read it. You know what I mean? That Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventures book, it showed up more on newsstands than in direct. It showed up more in gas stations and grocery stores and everywhere where the cartoon books sell to kids. Those that survived and are at 9.0, 9.2, 9.4 and better are not. I mean, it was a hugely printed book. You know, it's not their first appearance by any means, but it's a very important book. That animated series is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for a lot of people. So I'm going with the TMNT. It's not a 9.8, but that's not an easy book to get, and that's the one that I'd want to have long term.
All right, Phil.
Yeah, Tony, I totally respect your decision and everyone else's on the panel on that first Bebop and Rocksteady. But yeah, that 7 is just too cheap. That Invincible Iron Man 7, like, yeah, there's a debate whether it's the first appearance of Riri, even though the second and third print say this is the first appearance of Riri with her face, her mug right on the cover, right? But wow, $250 is just, it's incredibly too cheap. I think an Invincible Iron Man 9, like, that sold for close to 900, maybe $1,000 during this year. I sold the Age of Apocalypse variant for, I think I got like $3,000 for it this year. I just think, well, 7 is still significant because it's the first time you see Riri, and you have to. I think this character herself is gonna tug on emotional strings from the audience when we do see her back to back in Disney Plus shows, in the Ironheart show, and also Armor Wars. So we got 2 triggers. I'd like to really bet on this actress portraying her. I think easily this will double in price by next year. So that's why I'm picking that book.
All right. Anyone care to add?
I think that's a good take, to be honest. Like, I do think that the price on it even though it's fair market value now, like it is obviously going to go up once speculation hits more. But the price on the 9.4 is far under fair market value, like current fair market value. You could turn that book right now for double that.
Yeah. What are 9.8's newsstands going to that? It's still over 2K, I think, isn't it?
I want to say it is. I haven't looked recently, but
I think 9.6s are like $500 on that book.
Gosh.
All right, and we're gonna show our last set of books for the night. So we have a Batman 423 9.4 versus a Spawn 9.8. The Batman 423 sold for $266, and the Spawn number 1 sold for $250.
Shit.
That's a tough one, man.
All right, let's go with let's do Tony versus Tony.
Oh yeah, Tony.
Take it away.
You go ahead.
All right. I chose Spawn, right? Yeah. No, I'm gonna be a grade snob on this one, just because I think both of them are pretty easily had in higher grade. I'd rather go with the 9.8. I've told this story. I'll make it super quick, but on one of these before. But Spawn was this close to being my very first spec book. I'm old enough to have been collecting back in the 90s, and the first book that I decided I'm going to buy multiple copies of. They had in the Diamond previews, you could buy 100 issues of Wildcat or 100 issues of Spawn. And being a Jim Lee fan, I chose Wildcats.
Oh, no.
That's always rubbed me the wrong way, that I could have like a long box filled with Spawn, minty Spawn ones, and I don't. So I pick them up whenever I can, just because of that. The top book's great, but I'm gonna go with the 9.8.
I think for me that reason that you are picking Spawn is the reason why I'm picking Batman, is because there are people out there with long boxes of Spawn, and I don't know how many 9/8s are out there, but it's in the thousands, versus Batman, which is probably like from 9/8 down to 9/0 is probably like 1,000 or 2,000 total. Right. So and I've never owned that Batman, and I've always wanted to, and I have 5 Spawns upstairs.
All right. Anyone care to elaborate on either or book?
I just think a lot of those McFarlane, early McFarlane work, non-Spawn, like Marvel Tales and things like that. Those books, get them while they're cheap, because a lot of his stuff is just climbing.
The Hulk book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And $266 for a 9.4. Man, I don't know when that was, but I had a dish rag copy I sold for about $120, and I even put it on my eBay. Book is rough, and I still sold it.
That was sold 10 days ago.
Yeah, this was
man,
June 20th.
Cheap, man.
Oh, these were both on June 20th.
And that's a first print? Is that a first print?
Yeah, I think where you have Batman in the corner.
That's a first print. Holy shit. Yeah. That's cheap, bro.
Joe, I learned a new term on Whatnot this week. You got to call it well-loved. So well-loved copy.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I found a well-loved copy not too long ago for $6. So.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And side note, I do think the Batman movie will boost that book up even more. I don't know what's going on with Spawn lately.
Well, I mean, Spawn Universe just came out, so we'll see.
It's the Spawn Universe.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I think did McFarlane finally settle that he was going to do some sort of streaming service with someone, or there was rumors about that? I
don't know, man. He's reminding me of Lucas, just keeping too much control over his property. Just sign it off to some company who'll
just sign it off to Disney.
They'll, let other people take the reins and
go back to comics.
Wasn't Jamie Foxx supposed to be Spawn?
That's what I had heard.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
when is that movie coming out, man?
Together.
Well, so that was supposed to be with Legendary, and then I think what happened during production meetings and stuff like that, McFarlane's wanted too much control over it, didn't like where the direction was going, and then Jamie Foxx got booked for something else, and he ended up dropping out of the project.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so we're at where we are now, where we're still waiting to hear exactly what he's going to do with if it's either going to be a movie or if it's going to be a TV show or if it's going to be streaming, if it's going to be in theaters. So I think it's just like all kinds of up in the air. But I mean, but with the Spawn universe building up, that could just be building up the universe to set up for something more. I mean, to get to where his level is in the market and stuff like that, like it's impressive. I grew up in the 90s, like watching him, like that Spider-Man 1 cover is like ingrained in my head. The same with the Batman and the Spawn, like that's always going to be ingrained in my head as being iconic. So
I remember Todd McFarlane said something that resonated with me back in the 90s. He said, comic books are the only medium where a child will see a word that they do not understand and go and get a dictionary to learn that word.
Oh, awesome.
And I've always remembered that.
100%.
Well, I want to thank Skeleton King Comics and Rage Theo, both for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then anyone that's watching, hit us up if you would like to be a part of the dealer Flipside. We would like to include everyone in the community to join us the panel. And we're also going to be maybe even including some of other people from the channel to sit on the panel. So we'll see what happens. Any final thoughts from anyone?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good show, guys.
Yeah. So do you have anything else planned for the rest of the week, Tony or Theo?
Me and Rage have something planned next Saturday.
Okay. What's that?
We're going live on Instagram. Dad to have it.
Yeah, so we got a live this way. There we go. Yeah, so we got a live coming next week.
Wait.
I got a live coming up this weekend on Whatnot. So it's my first Whatnot live. So we'll see how that goes.
All right. Well, good luck to y'all.
Try to
Thank
cause
you.
some trouble.
Nice. How about you guys on the Flipside crew? Do you have any final thoughts or anything like that?
I just want to say thank you, Theo and Tony, for coming on the show. And I gotta catch my red eye flight back to New York right now. So I just want to thank all the viewers and the community. I gotta peace out real soon.
Yeah. And just as a final thought, so watching Star Wars, I always remember that Han shot first. So Boba Fett's starship will always be slave one to me. At me, bro.